Hi guys, welcome to Reality React channel. In this channel, we watch reality TV shows to react, recap, review, and for the fun of it. Today we are recapping Love is Blind, Season 7, Episode 4, titles The Tables Have Turned. And Hannah is still being manipulated by Leo, even on the very first scene here. And they talk about how Nick D, and he says that she shouldn't get married to the very first guy that says he loves her. That can't be how she chooses her husband and stuff like that. And according to him, Hannah and him are ENTJs, and they have that type of personality that they are very confident and all of that. And now they don't validate the connections feelings all this time. And all this time that Hannah is crying, and he just kept talking, and he's not even trying to comfort her. He just talks about how he feels and how he is not how Hannah is not seeing what he sees, and how his connection with Brittany is still strong, and all of that. It's very confusing. And Hannah reaffirms that she cares about him, but she loves Nick D more, and that he says that he loves her, but the connection with Brittany is still strong. It's just a bit of too much manipulation and confusion happening, and Hannah is crying. He doesn't care about that. He just talks and talks. And she tells him towards the end that she can't handle this conversation. She would rather talk to him the following day, and she's tired. She doesn't have the emotional capacity to continue with the conversation because he was not being a nice person. He was just talking over her and all of that, and not caring about how he's making her feel. And in the next scene, Marisa and Borden goes on a date, and they talk about the things that they have in common, the books and the video. Then she indicates that she's not into video games, but he is into video games. And she talks about the fact that she has dreams about books, how she wants to start a book club with her kids and her husband, and he agrees with that. And she asks if she has anything controversial that he feels strong about, and then he doesn't have anything. Basically, the only thing that he mentions that he thinks that is controversial is that everyone that works 40 hours a week deserves to have a housing and medical. And she agrees with that, and she says that's one of the things that made her feel the attraction that she has with him. And they start talking about whom to vote for, and that is because she said that she once dated a guy that was a Trump supporter for 3 years, and he's not a Trump supporter, and he indicates that he won't vote for a man who tried to overthrow the government. And they agree to have a date night, a night date, yeah. And then Tim and Alex goes on a date, and he got her a bracelet, encrypted love internals. It was meant for his middle sister that she got from his older sister, and she got it right before she passed on. And he talks about how he knows that she's the right person for him, because he was not just gonna give that bracelet to anybody. And knowing his sisters, he knows that they would have loved her. And they have a painting that they want to they are doing for the date, and they start talking about whom they want to paint for. Then it starts being fun and all of that. And she wore the bracelets, and they paint, and yeah, then the date ends. Steven and Monica goes on a pot date, and she tells him that he's the one she has been hoping for and praying for, and that she reminds her of her dad. And it just shows that it's true that for some women look for their fathers in their partners. And then he proposes to her, and she says that she has been waiting for this man for the past 36 years since she was born. And she just mentions all the qualities that she likes about him. And she says, at the end, she says yes. And they can't wait to meet each other. And Marisa goes on a date with Ramses, and she tries to figure out if he's a handyman, and he says he can be, and that he is resourceful. She asks about whom he will choose between Will Ferrell and Adam Sandler, and she realized that they both don't like the movie Elf, and they don't care, and they don't care about it. And she indicates that she doesn't like dumb comedy that Will Ferrell has, but she indicated that this choice was going to be a red flag, and but then she realizes that it's not actually a red flag, that he likes Will Ferrell or he chooses both of them. Like, it doesn't really matter. And they talk about their age. They both realize that the the age that they have, the age difference that they have, they like it. And she also finds out that he's a Cancer Leo. And she goes and tells the girls about it. She's excited about this. And Borden thinks that he is number one with Marissa. And he thinks that she loves him more. And this is not the truth. From what these dates that Marissa and Ramses has, she seems to be so excited about the love that they share with each other, or their connection. But then Borden goes on a pot date with Marissa, and she tells him that she's sure about her and Ramses, and her feelings with Ramses are strong and more romantic, and she's ready to focus on Ramses. And he says no hard feelings, and he handles these news with so much grace. He doesn't fight back, he doesn't question her, he just agrees that it's okay, he let it go. And I'm not sure what she expected Borden to say, because she goes on about her feelings for him as well, and how she could see them having a strong connection. And I don't get where she was coming from in terms of that. Or maybe she expected him to do what Leo had done with Hannah when she was trying to break up with him. I don't get where she was going with this. But then he asked that the next step for them to do is for them to leave the pause, and for him to go home alone, and he is fine with that. He's okay with it. And in the ladies' quarters, Hannah has realized that Leo was actually manipulating her, and she told Brittany about it. And also Brittany appreciates the message that Hannah is trying to tell her. And Nick and Leo in the men's quarters, Leo tells Nick that Hannah was crying because he was asking for clarity. And Nick also confesses that him and Hannah are in love. And I don't see the point of this conversation. Oh, that I don't see why Leo is having this conversation with Nick, because I don't know if he was trying to tell Nick that his woman is weak. And he talks about his date with Hannah that is coming up to Nick, and they go on this date. And then when he gets there, he apologizes for how he treated her the previous night, and she forgives him. And they talk about how weak their connection is. And he starts mentioning the qualities that Nick has, and that he doesn't, and those ones that he doesn't have, and how he is perfect for Hannah. And that Nick and Hannah and Leo are not compatible. This is coming from him. And I think Leo just wanted to be the one that breaks up with Hannah, not the other way around. He talks about his feelings for Brittany, and how he's scared of losing her. And he asks Hannah to talk with Brittany on his behalf, and tells Brittany that their breakup was mutual. And she says that she's not gonna do that. It is also in Brittany's decision to decide whether she marries him or not. And but remember, she has already told Brittany that he was trying to manipulate her. So her going back to tell her this news that their breakup is actually mutual would look weird to Brittany. I'm sure Brittany will be shocked if she was ever to do that. And Leo goes to the men's quarters and tells Nick that she's the one for Hannah is the one for him. And Hannah goes and tells Brittany about how Leo asked her to speak or to her about how their breakup is mutual, and she just mentions all the qualities that Leo has in terms of how he was trying to manipulate her the previous night, how this whole thing is actually confusing, and how Leo is not the type of husband one should be wanting or something like that. Because I get where she was coming from, because this guy is very confusing for Hannah. The next book date happened between Alex and Tim, and they have shared their painting from their previous date, and he got her flowers. She laughed at his painting when she walked in, and he wrote a letter to her dad asking for his for Alex's hand in marriage. And then after he finished reading the letter, she asked Alex to stand up, and then he proposes to her, and she says yes. And he talks about how he can't wait to start a family with her, and she thanks him and mentions the qualities that he has, and they both get their congratulations from the men and women. Nika is meeting up with Steven because they have done their proposal, and she reflects on how hard it has been to be 36 and single, how she has attended everyone's wedding and the kids' ceremonies and stuff like that. And Monica mentions that Steven is a hard worker, and that's not the type of man she has always gone for. And the fact that she would love him anyway because of how she has approached dating, it has not worked for her in terms of getting to the end, which is marriage. And now because of this approach, it has worked out. And she explains that she's nervous about meeting him, and also he's also nervous. And she explains that she easily gets the egg, and she's hoping that he's not gonna give her that. And and when she says this, I'm wondering if she has thought about how she has approached this dating thing and this ick thing that she easily gets, and how it has always made it impossible for her to meet her husband. And in this case, she has. And they meet each other, they hugs and kisses are shared, and he puts a ring on her finger, and they shower each other with compliments. She asks if she could twirl for him, and then he says yes, she twirls for him, and she asked him to twirl for her, and he twirls for her as well. He gave her a shirt to hold on to until they meet in Mexico, and they get excited about the chances of them getting married. They are very happy. She seems happy with this guy. And Marisa goes on a pot date with Ramses. He wrote her a letter, and he made her read it for her. And he was confessing his love for him. And then she tells him that she broke it off with Borden, and now they start talking about the differences between him and Borden. And I'm like, what is the point of this conversation? Doesn't matter. Like, just mentions the qualities that you have as a man instead of saying, oh, you and Borden shares this and that. It doesn't matter. But anyway, they assure the love that they have for each other. And Hannah goes on a date with Nick, and he got her flowers. They talk about their love for each other, and he asked her to stand for him, and he proposes, and he calls her with his surname, which is Doka, and they can't wait to marry each other. She says yes, and they toast to the Dokas. I think this is cute for them. And Alex and Tim meet. Alex is nervous. She's worried about not being petted because she has curves and all of that. And she worries about the type of women that he has dated and if this won't be a deal breaker. But he's excited, and when they meet, he thinks she's beautiful. And they start hugging and kissing. He put a ring on her finger, and he's wearing his sister's bracelet. And it wouldn't be their date or their meetup if he doesn't mention his sisters. He still mentioned them even here in this, and then he keeps talking about how he's the dog and how And also, I don't know if she's joking or not, but she seems like she doesn't like that dog thing that he keeps doing. And he just keeps laughing and being goofy about it. And I don't think she's happy about this. Anyway, Leo goes on a date with Brittany and he's worried about the proposal for him. So he tells the guys that he's worried that she might say no. And she keeps, and when she walks in, she just says, the tables have turned. And she had said it before. And I'm like, why? But anyway, he says that he's in love with Brittany. She wrote him a letter and she was the one reading it for him. This letter is long, it's a whole A4 page. And she talks about how she wrote him a love letter and she tore it because she's hurt because he's in love with someone else and he couldn't choose between her and Hannah. And she feels like she's settling for him and she's his second choice. And that's what the ladies are also saying or feeling. And he doesn't apologize. Brittany is crying when she finishes reading that letter. And he knows. And then instead of apologizing, he says, I love you and I know that you like hearing that from me. But remember, he said that he's not the type of person that confesses the love for other people. Like, I feel like this guy is super confused, or maybe he's under pressure to propose. The producers told him that he should propose and then he must do it now. But the approach is super wrong. Anyway, this and the episode end with no apology from Leo and to Brittany in this case. One can see that he doesn't like the position that he put his future wife in, but he doesn't say, I am sorry. He doesn't say, please forgive me for doing this and that. He just says he loves her and he likes hearing from her. I guess we'll find out in the next episode what actually really happened. And thank you for watching this recap. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Reality React channel. See you guys in the next recap.